Chapter 3078. What good news? Bailey Hongzhuang's clear phoenix eyes were filled with doubt. She really couldn't think of any good news in their current situation. Just now, many people came to me to place orders. They want to buy your healing medicine. Sweet Dream's pretty face was filled with joy. Her hands were tightly clasped together. I immediately came to inform you when I heard the news. As soon as she said this, Bailey Hongzhuang and the others looked at each other. They didn't immediately feel excited about this news. Didn't Lu Mingxiu say that anyone who dares to buy the healing medicine will be his enemy? No one has been interested in this healing medicine for the past few days. Why are there suddenly people interested today? Bewitching's eyes were deep. There must be a reason for this abnormality. If nothing special happened, the situation would definitely not have such a huge change. Today, someone happened to use young Master D's healing medicine in the arena. The effect was so good that it caused a huge sensation. Later, young Master Xiao happened to pass by and directly said that the healing medicine was made by young Master D. After this incident, many people came to order the healing medicine. These people are all stronger than young Master Lu, so there's no need to worry at all. Sweet Dream smiled sweetly. She originally thought that this matter had already forced Bailey Hongzhuang and the others into a desperate situation. She didn't expect that there would be a silver lining. Even she was surprised. After hearing what Sweet Dream said, Bailey Hongzhuang and the others felt that the situation was a little too dramatic. They were just about to have a good fight with Lu Mingxiu. Who would have thought that the situation would be solved by themselves? Should they say that they were lucky or that Lu Mingxiu was unlucky? Originally, they wanted to achieve this effect by selling the healing medicine for free. Now, the effect seemed to be much better than they imagined. Sweet Dream saw the stunned expressions of Bailey Hongzhuang and the other three and thought that they were just too surprised because of this matter, and then said, "Since just now, people have come to place orders one after another. Young Master D, how many healing medicines do you have here? How many do they need?" Bailey Hongzhuang asked. Right now, the number of orders has reached 100. I feel that this number may increase in a while because the news today is really too sensational. If you don't have enough healing medicine, I can help to reject them. Sweet Dream felt that Bailey Hongzhuang was only selling the healing medicine because she just happened to have some in stock. After all, if she wasn't a doctor, she couldn't continuously produce healing medicine. She was afraid that this stock would be sold out. 100 portions? Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes lit up. 100 sets of healing pills were equivalent to 3,000 spirit stones. Now, they wouldn't have to worry about spirit stones for a while. This was really good news. Sweet Dream nodded. That's right. Isn't that too much? Bailey Hongzhuang waved her hand and said, "Not much, I just happen to have a lot here. I'll give them all to you. If you need more, you can come find me." As soon as her voice fell, Bailey Hongzhuang directly handed the Qianquan bag to Sweet Dream. This was made last night. Originally, they wanted to give it away for free. Who would have thought that it would be so easy to sell it now? It was as if they had worked together well. Chapter 3079. Tian Meng took the Qianquan bag from Bailey Hongzhuang's hands. After glancing at the number of healing pills in the Qianquan bag, she couldn't help but exclaim, "So much." Bailey Hongzhuang smiled faintly. "I think this amount of healing medicine should be enough." Sweet Dream nodded. "Then I'll go sell it now." "Thank you." After Sweet Dream left, Bailey Hongzhuang and the other three couldn't help but look at each other. Then, they couldn't help but laugh out loud. "Looks like the heavens are still on our side." Shengguan Yingying chuckled. "It's really too funny. We just happened to make so many healing medicine last night, and we just happened to sell it today. Now that we've sold the healing medicine, we've already achieved the effect of slapping the face. I'm sure Lu Mingxiu must be very unhappy right now," Xiren said with a smile. Bewitching's handsome face also brimmed with a faint smile. "Speaking of which, we really have to thank Lu Mingxiu for helping us make a name for ourselves. Otherwise, the people of the Demon Training Tower wouldn't have paid attention to us at all." "You're really sarcastic." Xiren gave a thumbs up. "But I think so too, huh? Just the 3,000 spirit stones are enough for us to cultivate in the oceanic world for a period of time. Taking advantage of this opportunity, we have to break through to the 4th level of the Purple Realm in one go. Bailey Hongzhuang slowly said. The urgent need for spirit stones had been solved, and they could now raise their cultivation in peace. Lu Mingshu's mood was very good these 2 days. His words made him understand his position in the demon training tower. There was no one who dared to offend him, and it couldn't be better. The cultivator on the 2nd floor could be considered tactful. If he dared to stand out and provoke him, then he would definitely make his life even more difficult. However, when Lu Mingshu walked out of his room today, he saw that everyone was looking at him strangely. It was different from the reverence from 2 days ago, and it seemed to contain a bit of ridicule. This discovery made Lu Mingshu feel very unhappy. Usually, no one dared to look at him with such a gaze. What happened? Lu Mingshu immediately went to understand the situation. After learning the truth, Lu Mingshu's face couldn't help turning red. This damned Xiao Yihan. He's deliberately going against me. Lu Mingshu smashed the teacup on the ground, his face full of anger. Originally, he thought that it was good that Xiao Yihan didn't come looking for trouble for the past 2 days. He didn't expect Xiao Yihan to do this today. This was a slap to his face. According to the information he had gathered, there were already many people who had gone to buy healing medicine. He felt that his face had never hurt so much since he had come to the magic training tower. Bailey Hongzhuang's healing medicine was quickly sold out. Many cultivators praised the effects of Bailey Hongzhuang's healing medicine after they tried it. The effects were visible. At the very least, the cultivators who bought the healing medicine felt that it was worth it. In the future, they would not need to spend a lot of money to buy healing pills. Now, those who had the guts to buy the healing medicine were all cultivators with high status. Their words were naturally very credible. In a moment, everyone was even more certain that the healing medicine sold in the 18th room on the 2nd floor was extremely effective. Chapter 3080. This situation didn't last for long. After the first cultivator started to buy the medicine, many cultivators also started to place orders. One person naturally didn't have the courage to do this, but when everyone was like this kind of wishful thinking was magnified. They didn't believe that Lu Mingshu would be able to make a move against all of them by himself. Ever since Sweet Dream started working on the 2nd floor of the magic training tower, she had never been so busy. The counter was surrounded by people, and everyone was busy placing orders. All of the orders were for Bailey Hongzhuang's medicine. Even Sweet Dream couldn't help but be shocked by this situation. Normally, the alchemists and doctors would be the busiest, but compared to the situation in front of her, it wasn't much. With such a large amount, she couldn't help but start to worry about whether Bailey Hongzhuang would be able to make so many medicine. However, Bailey Hongzhuang had already told her that she only needed to take orders and didn't need to worry about the quantity. Just thinking about the spirit stones that these medicines could be exchanged for, Sweet Dream felt that this was a huge sum of money. If Bailey Hongzhuang and the others were said to be poor ghosts before, now the situation had completely changed. No one would be able to associate them with being poor ghosts anymore. In this short period of time, the medicine had become completely popular. Even the upper echelons of the demon training tower were shocked by the popularity of this healing medicine. There were many people doing business in the demon training tower, but for a healing medicine to be able to sell to such a high level was truly shocking. In the end, the higher-ups of the magic training tower decided that as long as Bailey Hongzhuang could continue to sell the medicine, they would reduce the processing fee. This kind of treatment was something that the pharmacists and doctors could enjoy on a daily basis, but this was only possible if the sales reached a certain level. However, it was clear that Bailey Hongzhuang's healing medicine had already surpassed that today. This news was undoubtedly a pleasant surprise for Bailey Hongzhuang. Originally, the magic training tower would take 40% of the processing fee, but now it was reduced to 30%. This reduction didn't seem to be much, but if they really calculated it, they would receive a lot more spirit stones. Not only that, but the higher-ups of the demon training tower also said that if the sales volume continued to rise, the processing fee could be reduced again. Sweet Dream also received a reward for selling the healing medicine. This made Sweet Dream very happy. She had worked in the magic training tower for so long, but she had never received such praise. Compared to the joy of Bailey Hongzhuang and the others, Lu Mingxiu only felt that his face had been slapped swollen. Everyone seemed to have completely forgotten what he had said before and was completely focused on the healing medicine. He didn't understand. It was just a healing medicine. Was there a need to fight over it like crazy? It was as if he didn't need money. His pride from the past 2 days had completely disappeared. Now, he didn't even dare to leave the house. Everyone was talking about the healing medicine, and naturally, he was also involved. He had never been so embarrassed before. Most importantly, given the situation before him, he was already completely naked. This was not something that could be stopped even if he tried. Chapter 3081. Now, the more Bailey Hongzhuang blew up, the more Lu Mingxiu lost face. Everyone would think of him when buying healing medicine. As long as Bailey Hongzhuang didn't disappear for a day, his situation of being ridiculed would never change. Just thinking about this made Lu Mingxiu feel like his head was about to explode. What he couldn't understand the most was that Bailey Hongzhuang wasn't a doctor, so where did she get so many healing medicines to sell? In my opinion, there must be a lot of people buying healing medicines these 2 days. Should we postpone our cultivation for 2 days and make more healing medicines? Shengguan Yingying looked at Bailey Hongzhuang. According to Sweet Dream, the number of orders was constantly rising. They had made a lot of healing medicines last night, but if the number of orders continued to rise, they wouldn't have enough. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly. Good. Now is a good time to sell healing medicines. Many people are just here to join in the fun. We might as well take advantage of this opportunity to earn more spirit stones. As for the sales of healing medicines, I don't care. For Bailey Hongzhuang, she only wanted to use the healing medicines to earn the spirit stones they needed for their cultivation. What they needed the most now were spirit stones. Since they had such a good opportunity, they naturally wanted to take advantage of it. Even if they didn't sell the healing medicines in the end, they would still have enough spirit stones. It seems that we'll be busy for the next few days, Bewitching said with a smile. When Ziren shrugged, the few of us are just helping out. The busiest one is Hongzhuang. Speaking of which, we've been watching in the arena for so many days, but we still can't make as much money as Bailey Hongzhuang casually makes healing medicines. Sure enough, this side business should be developed. When Ziren sighed faintly, the few of them had put all their energy into cultivation and had never thought of learning a side business. Normally, they didn't feel anything. After all, the majority of people in the Shengxian continent chose to do one. However, with Bailey Hongzhuang, who had a similar cultivation level as them but had many different skills, they realized the gap between them. Ziren, don't let your imagination run wild. If you go and learn other skills, I'm afraid you won't be able to handle it. Shengguan Yingying exposed when Ziren without hesitation. When Ziren rolled his eyes. Aren't I just thinking about it? You're not giving me any face at all. Ha! Shengguan Yingying chuckled. Who here doesn't know about your situation? Do you still need me to expose you? This seems to be the case. At night, when Sweet Dream came to Bailey Hongzhuang, her face showed some fatigue, but her eyes were as bright as the stars, full of excitement. Young Master D, the healing medicine you gave me today has been sold out. Hearing Sweet Dream's words, Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes flashed with a hint of surprise. She had given Sweet Dream more than 500 portions of healing medicine. Most people would buy 1 or 2 portions of healing medicine. If they had enough money, they would only buy 5 portions. People like Xiao Yihan who bought 50 portions in one go were very rare. Moreover, many people didn't even know the effects of this healing medicine. Naturally, they wouldn't buy too many at once. Chapter 3082. There are still a lot of orders, but I've already told everyone that there are no finished products. Sweet Dream said slowly. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly. Thank you for your hard work today. Sweet Dream shook her head. This is what I should do. If it wasn't for young Master D's healing medicine, I wouldn't have been praised by the higher-ups. Speaking of which, I have to thank you. In that case, it's a win-win situation for us. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled faintly. Young Master D, there are still a lot of people making orders. Are you still taking orders? Sweet Dream looked at Bailey Hongzhuang tentatively. The popularity of this healing medicine had completely exceeded her expectations. If she could continue to sell it, her commission would be an extremely impressive figure. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly. Continue. Just tell me how many you need. Hearing Bailey Hongzhuang's reply, Sweet Dream's face immediately revealed a deep smile. That's great. I didn't expect this healing medicine to be so popular. Isn't this situation a bit too strange? Bailey Hongzhuang frowned slightly. She did have a certain level of confidence in the healing medicine she made. It was definitely not inferior to the ordinary healing pills made by those alchemists. However, the effect seemed to be a bit too sensational. It was as if all the cultivators in the demon training tower had come to buy it. This situation was a bit inconceivable. Young Master D, there's something you don't know. Ever since more and more people bought the healing medicine, everyone has been talking about this healing medicine. Many people who weren't interested in this healing medicine have come to buy it in order to not stray from the topic. After all, ever since young Master Lu said that no one could buy it, your healing medicine has entered everyone's sight. In the past few days, everyone has been talking about this healing medicine. Now that so many people are buying it, everyone wants to join in the fun. That's why this situation has happened. However, I reckon that after this craze dies down, there won't be such a hot sale situation anymore. At the end of her speech, Sweet Dream couldn't help but look at Bailey Hongzhuang. She didn't want to hurt Bailey Hongzhuang. She just wanted Bailey Hongzhuang to be mentally prepared. Bailey Hongzhuang's expression was calm. Sweet Dream's words were exactly what she had thought. Now, everyone was buying out of curiosity. After all, it was just a healing medicine, so it shouldn't be that attractive. After this period of craze passed, everyone gradually calmed down. However, she believed that even without such a craze, there would still be many people attracted by the effects of her healing medicine. Overall, her sale this time could be said to be extremely successful. I understand. I will continue to supply you with healing medicine for the next few days. You don't have to worry. Hearing this, Sweet Dream couldn't help but feel relieved. That's good. Young Master D, I have a question that I've always wanted to ask you. Sweet Dream hesitated for a moment before speaking. Bailey Hongzhuang raised her eyebrows and asked, "What is it? Why do you have so much healing medicine? Are you a doctor?" Sweet Dream stared at Bailey Hongzhuang and finally asked the question in her heart. She had been curious about this question for a long time. Although she had many guesses in her heart, she didn't dare to ask. Chapter 3083. Listening to Sweet Dream's question, Bailey Hongzhuang nodded and frankly admitted her identity. Yes. At this point, there was no use in hiding her identity. These healing medicines were all made by her, presumably anyone with a discerning eye could guess. After all, no cultivator would carry so many healing pills with them at all times. After receiving Bailey Hongzhuang's answer, Sweet Dream's face also showed a look of understanding. She finally knew the real answer. Then, why don't you live in the doctor's residence, but live on the second floor? Sweet Dream didn't understand. The treatment in the doctor's residence is much better than on the second floor. My big brother and the others are still here. Just a simple sentence had already let Sweet Dream understand the real reason. She couldn't help but feel annoyed. She was too stupid before, she didn't even think of this point. At the same time, Sweet Dream was also a little glad. Although her previous actions offended Bailey Hongzhuang, the situation was obviously successfully remedied. A poor cultivator and a doctor with superb medical skills, these were two completely different identities. Although she didn't understand why Bailey Hongzhuang, a doctor, was poor when she first came to Demon Refining Island, Bailey Hongzhuang has now used her actions to prove her ability. Thinking of this, Sweet Dream couldn't help but feel happy. Fortunately, Bailey Hongzhuang's big brother and friend were not doctors, otherwise, she wouldn't have the opportunity to know Bailey Hongzhuang. Bailey Hongzhuang didn't know the joy in the woman's heart at all. After knowing the specific situation, she returned to the house. According to today's situation, I'm afraid they couldn't rest tonight. They had to make medicine overnight, otherwise, there wouldn't be enough to sell tomorrow. This time, Sweet Dream also brought the spirit stones obtained from the 500 sets of healing medicines. Looking at the astonishing number of spirit stones, Bailey Hongzhuang and the others all had a touch of joy on their faces. Since they came to Penglai Island, this was the first time they saw such a huge amount of money. Looking at these spirit stones, I'm filled with boundless motivation. Shengguan Yingying's eyes shone brightly, reflecting the light of the spirit stone. She was full of excitement. As long as we hold on for a few more days, these spirit stones will be enough for us to cultivate in seclusion until we break through to the 5th level of the Purple Realm, Di Beichen said slowly. Following Di Beichen's words, a joyful smile appeared on everyone's faces. Once they broke through to the Purple Realm, then they wouldn't have to be as restrained as they were now. They wouldn't have to be mere spectators in the arena area. Most importantly, they would be able to stand up and face the provocations of others directly. We have to rush our work tonight. After we finish these few days, we will go into closed-door cultivation, Bailey Hongzhuang said with a smile. Just as Sweet Dream and Bailey Hongzhuang had expected, the number of orders on the second day was even more than the first. Everyone's enthusiasm didn't decrease in the slightest. The level of popularity left even the higher-ups of the Demon Training Tower speechless. There were many treasures in the Demon Training Tower, but there was only one case that could reach this level. In order to help with the sales, the higher-ups of the Demon Training Tower even specially sent a helper to Sweet Dream. Sweet Dream's status also increased by quite a bit compared to before. Chapter 3084. Many cultivators who had bought the healing medicine because of its popularity found that its effects did not increase at all after using it. Although the price was a little more expensive than healing medicine, the healing speed was much faster than normal healing medicine. The reason why everyone bought healing medicine was to be able to heal their injuries faster. Now that there was a healing medicine in the middle, it became everyone's first choice. For 3 consecutive days, Bailey Hongzhuang and the rest were busy concocting the healing medicine in the house. Now, not to mention Bailey Hongzhuang, even Shengguan Yingying and the rest were familiar with concocting the medicine. Unfamiliar at first, but familiar at second. Now, their speed of grinding the herbs was constantly increasing. With the help of essence power, the speed of grinding the herbs was also extremely fast. Xiao He and Xiao Bai did not need to be mentioned. They usually helped their master with this. As for Baisher, whose claws were not nimble enough, it could only help to pay attention to the movements. Most of the time, it was eating demon crystals while paying attention. As soon as the sales of the healing medicine exploded, everyone became curious about Bailey Hongzhuang. What's more, the amount of spirit stones that could be exchanged for such a large number of sales was absolutely enormous. There were definitely a lot of people who were jealous. Bailey Hongzhuang and the rest found that the number of cultivators who came to the second floor had obviously increased these 2 days. Many people were wandering around this floor, wanting to find out where the number 18 on the second floor lived and find out her true identity. This was the trouble of not living in the Medicine Refinery and Medicine Refinery district. If she lived there, naturally no one would dare to disturb her. But as an ordinary cultivator on the second floor, there was no deterrence. In other words, it was very likely that she was someone who could be manipulated by others. As long as they controlled Bailey Hongzhuang, they would be able to obtain a lot of spirit stones. This was undoubtedly a good plan in everyone's hearts. This was also the point that Bailey Hongzhuang was most worried about. There were not many cultivators living on the second floor of the Demon Training Tower. As long as everyone investigated carefully, it would not take long for them to discover their true identities. If that was the case, then it would be truly troublesome. Therefore, Bailey Hongzhuang and the others quickly made a decision. They would take advantage of this opportunity to make a huge profit and not sell it again. It was undoubtedly unwise to attract more trouble because of this. After making another 500 sets of medicinal ingredients, everyone stopped to rest. "Master, there are more and more people loitering outside our door today." Baisher slowly walked to Bailey Hongzhuang's side, his bright eyes filled with human-like worry. Hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang and the others' faces darkened. This was not good news for them. In this situation, I'm afraid that even Sweet Dream wouldn't dare to come to us. Once she appears, our residence will be completely exposed, Bailey Hongzhuang said slowly. Di Beichen frowned. These guys are not soft-hearted people. Their purpose in coming to us is undoubtedly to take advantage of this opportunity to make a fortune. We have to think of a way to change our residence. This place is simply too unsafe. When Zyron nodded, these guys are really despicable. They're already thinking of such a bad idea. I'm afraid that we can't continue to stay here. Chapter 3085. If I live there, then what will happen to you guys? Bailey Hongzhuang frowned. She had never thought of this problem before. She didn't think it would be so troublesome. As long as you're safe, then it doesn't matter. We're just a few unimportant people. The others won't care about us. Zyron slowly said. At this time, Bewitching shook his head. Not necessarily. We came to the demon training tower with Hongzhuang. As long as the other party wants to, it won't be hard to find out. When the time comes, Hongzhuang will live upstairs. Naturally, there won't be any problems, but we'll become the weak point. Moreover, you can't forget that there's still Lu Mingxiu who isn't willing to accept this. Bewitching's voice was deep. His eyes flashed with a deep light, giving everyone a warning. With Lu Mingxiu's personality, he's lost a lot of face this time. I'm afraid he won't let this go. However, we don't know what he'll do for now. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded. Shengguan Yingying's face also became ugly. If that's the case, then this matter is really troublesome. Right now, those people outside are clearly scoundrels. If Sweet Dream can't come to us to get the medicine, then it'll be very troublesome. Bewitching's eyes narrowed. His calm and handsome face was filled with thoughts. Suddenly, his eyes lit up. He said in a deep voice, Hongzhuang, I'm afraid we'll have to negotiate with the demon training tower's higher-ups. What do you mean? Give up on the cut and give them more benefits in exchange for a quiet place to live. Bailey Hongzhuang's dark and bright eyes flashed with understanding. She nodded. I understand. The demon training tower's people shouldn't be lacking money. Will it be effective if we use this bargaining chip to negotiate? Zyron couldn't help but ask. Bewitching replied. Those people are all people who don't get up early without benefits. Isn't the demon training tower's things so expensive because they want to make money? As long as we show them enough benefits, they will definitely agree. After all, this is not a difficult matter for them. No matter what, I'll talk to them first. If it really doesn't work, we can only change rooms and go to a floor with more people, Bailey Hongzhuang said in a deep voice. This was the most important thing right now. She felt that what Bewitching said was very reasonable. The possibility of the demon training tower's upper echelons agreeing was very high. When Bewitching walked out of his room, he saw a lot of people wandering around outside. When they saw Bewitching, their eyes immediately fell on him. Bewitching pretended to be surprised and looked at the people around him, as if he didn't know what was going on. Originally, Bailey Hongzhuang had planned to personally look for Sweet Dream, but she was stopped by Bewitching. Now that they could encounter danger at any time, it was better for him to come out and take a look. Could this guy be number 18? He looks very young. I've never seen him before. This room's door has always been closed. Maybe he really is. Even now, no one knows who number 18 is. This is very awkward. At this time, Bewitching walked to the side of a cultivator and asked curiously, Brother, what happened in the past 2 days? What are you all doing here? Chapter 3086. You don't know what's happened these days? I've been cultivating and only came out today. Our second floor is usually very quiet. There's no one here at all. What's going on today? Bewitching's eyes flashed with a strong sense of curiosity, but more than that, he was puzzled and puzzled. It was as if he wanted to join in on the fun. He constantly looked around, obviously guessing all kinds of possibilities in his mind. Then why did you come out now? I've been in seclusion for a few days. I'm hungry, so I want to go to the counter to order something to eat. To be honest, I lost a little badly last time. I'm going to go into seclusion for a while to get my face back. But brother, can you tell me what you're doing? Maybe I can help. If there's something good, we can split it in half. Bewitching's eyes flashed with a Philistine light. He kept rubbing his hands, extremely curious. Looking at Bewitching's appearance, The cultivator couldn't help but wave his hand and say, "I think you should go and order something to eat. These things don't matter at all." "Don't be like that, brother. Just tell me what's going on. You've been in seclusion for the past few days. What's the use of telling you? Get out of here." The man waved his hand. His face was full of impatience, and his heart was full of disdain. Sure enough, the people living on the second floor were all a bunch of poor people. As long as they saw an opportunity, they would take advantage of it to make a fortune. He couldn't be bothered with them. When the others saw this scene, they also shifted their attention away from Bewitching. Because Bewitching's performance was too real. It didn't look like he was acting at all. He didn't look guilty at all. Bailey Hongzhuang and the others had been paying attention to Bewitching's situation in the room. Once Bewitching was stopped, they would definitely rush out to help. However, Bewitching easily got away with it. They couldn't help but smile. Bewitching's camouflage ability is really good. Many people's attention has been diverted. When Xiren's face was brimming with a comfortable smile. His originally tense nerves relaxed in an instant, and he sat down on the chair with peace of mind. I really admire Bewitching. If it were me, I'm afraid I would have easily exposed myself. Shengguan Yingying couldn't help but sigh. Just by looking at Bewitching's actions, she couldn't help but break out in a cold sweat for Bewitching. Sweet Dream continued to receive one order after another, but she wasn't happy at all. On the contrary, she was very worried. She had noticed earlier that almost all the cultivators on the second floor were being watched. No matter who walked out, they would be noticed. In this kind of situation, she didn't dare to look for Bailey Hongzhuang. Once she did, it would be the same as exposing Bailey Hongzhuang. She had stayed in the demon training tower for so long, so she wasn't unfamiliar with this kind of situation. As long as Bailey Hongzhuang was recognized, then it would be impossible for her to cultivate peacefully. Once these people made a move, they would be extremely cruel. However, if she didn't go to see Bailey Hongzhuang, then she wouldn't have any healing medicine to sell. As time passed, this would also cause dissatisfaction. With the sales of healing medicine being so hot, she really didn't know what to do now. Chapter 3087. Young Master D. A hint of joy appeared in Sweet Dream's eyes. She was just worrying about what to do, but she did not expect Bewitching to appear here. She understood that Bewitching must have known about the current situation, which was why he did not let Bailey Hongzhuang come personally. With Bewitching's appearance, many people's eyes fell on him, each with their own plans. "Miss Sweet Dream, I'd like to order lunch." Bewitching smiled faintly. Hearing this, Sweet Dream was slightly stunned, but she quickly understood Bewitching's meaning, and her expression returned to normal in an instant. "The menu is here. What would you like to order?" "Just these few." Bewitching reached out and handed the Cosmos sack to Sweet Dream. "The rest of my belongings are here, see if it's enough." However, just as Sweet Dream was about to take the Cosmos sack, a cultivator suddenly stopped her. Bewitching and Sweet Dream's expressions froze, and they turned to look at the cultivator. "It's just ordering a dish. Do you need to use a Cosmos sack to carry it?" The cultivator's eyes shone with a shrewd light. "Don't tell me you're number 18? Bewitching frowned slightly, and a hint of anger appeared on his face. "I don't know what you're talking about." "You don't know?" The cultivator chuckled. "Let me make sure." At this moment, not only this cultivator, but the eyes of the other cultivators around also became sharp in an instant. Bewitching's appearance and actions were too suspicious. The Cosmos sack was snatched away at the first moment, and Sweet Dream's face could not help but show a strong sense of fear. Once the healing medicine was discovered, it would be really troublesome. "Give it back to me." Bewitching reached out to snatch the Cosmos sack back, obviously extremely angry. At this moment, almost everyone was sure that Bewitching was in room 18 on the second floor. There was no other possibility. However, when the cultivator checked the items in the Chenkuan bag, the excitement on his face quickly disappeared. This was because he did not find any healing medicine in the Cosmos sack, only a love letter. Only then did Bewitching snatch the Chenkuan pouch. He glared at him and said, "What are you doing?" "I thought I found the right person. I didn't expect it to be just a love letter asking for love. Is there a need to be so secretive? The cultivator's face could not hide the disappointment. Di Beichen's actions were even more speechless. Some of the cultivators who were preparing to attack Di Beichen also stopped their actions. Their faces were filled with speechlessness. How could such a thing happen at a time like this? How could they not be speechless? Sweet Dream, who was originally extremely nervous, couldn't help but be stunned after hearing this. Especially after hearing the words love letter, she couldn't help but think of Bailey Hongzhuang. Her pretty face immediately turned red. Looking at Sweet Dream's expression, the crowd no longer had any doubts. Their original suspicions were completely dispelled. At this moment, Di Beichen couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Xiren was really thoughtful. He didn't think of this at first, but Xiren vividly wrote a love letter, saying that this would completely dispel everyone's suspicions about him. He never thought that this scene would really be predicted by Xiren, allowing him to survive a crisis. Chapter 3088. Di Beichen's expression was somewhat awkward. Only then did he take out another Qingkuan pouch and hand it to Sweet Dream. At this moment, no one had any interest in looking through Di Beichen's Qingkuan pouch and allowed him to pass it to Sweet Dream. Sweet Dream took the Qingkuan pouch and glanced at it briefly. She found that the Qingkuan pouch was filled with healing medicine. Her palms couldn't help but sweat as she quickly put the Qingkuan pouch away. At this moment, some of the cultivators who had been waiting in front of Bailey Hongzhuang's room walked to the counter. After knowing that Di Beichen's love letter had been stopped halfway, everyone completely dispelled their suspicions towards Di Beichen. Even when Di Beichen returned to the room, no one paid any attention to him. Beichen, how was it? Did my love letter come in handy? As soon as Di Beichen entered the room, Xiren couldn't help but ask. Di Beichen glanced at Xiren indifferently. In my opinion, it's more suitable for you to do this kind of thing in the future. As soon as he said this, Xiren couldn't help but laugh loudly. I knew it would be like this. I'm afraid that no one will suspect you anymore. That's true. I'm afraid that no one will suspect me if I hand over any Qingkuan pouch to Sweet Dream in the future. Di Beichen revealed a helpless expression. We naturally have outstanding talent in this area. But this way, Sweet Dream won't really think that you like her, right? As Xiren spoke, he couldn't help but look at Bailey Hongzhuang. It wouldn't be good if there was a misunderstanding because of his prank. You're thinking too much. Sweet Dream likes our master. Xiao He couldn't help but stand out. Following Xiao He's words, Di Beichen, Wen Xiren, and Shengguan Yingying's gazes all fell on Bailey Hongzhuang. They were all filled with disbelief. Did I hear wrongly? Did you say that Sweet Dream likes Hongzhuang? Wen Xiren was speechless. Xiao He nodded confidently. You don't usually have much interaction with Sweet Dream. I've noticed that Sweet Dream blushes every time she talks to Master. What's more, Master's identity is no longer that of a pauper's from before. What's so impossible? Shengguan Yingying rubbed her head as she pondered. Hongzhuang looks, it's not impossible for Sweet Dream to like him. Shengguan Yingying rubbed her head as she pondered. Thought. Xiren, don't worry. Sweet Dream won't think that I like her because I wrote your name at the bottom of the letter. Di Beichen spread out his hands. Xiren couldn't help but be stunned when he heard this. He immediately recalled that after he had finished writing the love letter, Di Beichen had taken it to have a look and even added 2 lines. He didn't look carefully at the contents of the love letter. Only now did he know that Di Beichen had signed his name. Beichen, you're too inhumane. Xiren couldn't help but complain. However, Di Beichen didn't have the slightest self-awareness of betraying his brother. I only have my wife in my heart. Even if I can get away with it, I can't give a love letter to someone else. If I make my wife unhappy, can you bear the responsibility? Then why didn't you think about it for me? Xiren's mouth twitched. Recently, he found that Di Beichen was becoming more and more of a beast. This love letter was written by you. Besides, didn't Yingying give you some advice? Di Beichen's voice was calm, and there wasn't the slightest bit of embarrassment on his face. Chapter 3089. Bailey Hongzhuang's face was full of smiles. Di Beichen had tricked Wen Xiren in this aspect. He really didn't have to pay for it. In fact, When Di Baichen had signed Ziren's name, she had also noticed it. However, when she saw Ziren smiling so brightly, she didn't expose him. She wanted to see Ziren's expression at the end. Now that she saw it, he was indeed very happy. Baichen, so you've successfully sent the healing medicine to Sweet Dream? Bailey Hongzhuang asked with a smile. Di Baichen nodded. I've already sent the healing medicine and the note. We have news to discuss with the higher-ups. I believe Sweet Dream won't ignore it. Then we'll just have to wait for the news, Bailey Hongzhuang replied. After Baichen's ruckus just now, no one doubts that we're number 18 anymore. We can breathe a sigh of relief for the time being. Ziren raised his eyebrows. Didn't you notice that the people at the door have gradually dispersed? They seem to have changed their target to the other side. Although there aren't many cultivators on the entire second floor, I'm afraid they don't have the ability to check one by one. These people are just here to try their luck. If they meet us, then they can make a fortune. As for the other experts who are really capable, they have no interest in wasting their time on us. Lu Mingxiu now hated Bailey Hongzhuang to the extreme. In recent days, whenever he appeared, he would inevitably be mocked. Although his status wasn't weak and most people didn't dare to offend him, he had many enemies. Therefore, he took this opportunity to be ridiculed. When he thought of Bailey Hongzhuang, Lu Mingxiu was furious. If he suffered such a big loss like this, he really wouldn't be able to raise his head in front of those people in the future. Since you want to hide and don't want to reveal your true identity, then I'll go and investigate one by one. Let's see if you can continue to hide. There was a cold light in Lu Mingxiu's eyes. Last time, he had been one step behind, trying to steal a chicken only to end up losing the rice used to lure it. This time, he would directly expose Bailey Hongzhuang to the eyes of others. He didn't need to do anything to solve the problem. When Sweet Dream was selling the healing medicine, she found a note in her Cosmos sack. She opened it and immediately went to inform the higher-ups of the demon training tower. Compared to selling the healing medicine, this was the most important thing at the moment. The higher-ups of the demon training tower were obviously very interested in Bailey Hongzhuang. Now hearing that Bailey had taken the initiative to discuss a deal with them, they were immediately interested. Young Master D, Steward Qin invites you upstairs for a detailed discussion. All right. I'll go with you. Di Baichen followed closely. Bailey Hongzhuang glanced at Di Baichen and knew that Di Baichen was concerned about her, so she nodded. All right. Under Sweet Dream's lead, Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Baichen arrived at the room where they were invited. Although they had heard of the higher-ups of the demon training tower, they had never talked to them face to face. Sweet Dream was the one who had passed on the message. Young Master D, you guys sit here for a moment. I'll go inform Steward Qin. All right. Not long after Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Baichen tasted their tea, Steward Qin walked into the room with a smile on his face. Young Master D, nice to meet you. Chapter 3090. I heard from Sweet Dream that the two of you have something to discuss with me? Steward Qin was about 40 years old. His square face was always filled with a friendly smile, but the shrewdness that occasionally flashed in his eyes made people understand his identity as a businessman. Di Baichen nodded slightly and said, Steward Qin should have some understanding of our situation these past 2 days. I wonder if young Master D is referring to the popularity of the healing medicine or something else. Steward Qin asked in confusion. Seeing that Steward Qin did not understand the situation, Di Baichen did not want to beat around the bush. He knew very well in his heart that Steward Qin had the upper hand in this negotiation, and the other party only wanted to see if they had enough chips. In the past 2 days, many people have started to inquire about our identities. Steward Qin should also understand that we only want to use this healing medicine to earn some spirit stones. We don't want to cause any trouble because of this. So it's about this matter. Steward Qin suddenly realized, I've heard a little about this matter. I wonder what your plans are now? Seeing that Steward Qin still did not let go, Di Baichen also cursed in his heart. The other party obviously did not want to let go of the eagle without seeing the rabbit, so all of this could only be brought up by them. With our current situation, it's not convenient for us to live on the second floor. I hope that Steward Qin can do us a favor and let us live in the alchemist and doctor's residential area. Bewitching and Bailey Hongzhuang's gazes fell on Steward Qin. They had already said so much, so Steward Qin could no longer continue to pretend. Young Master D, it's not that I don't want to help you, but this matter is really difficult to handle. Steward Qin rubbed his chin with his right hand, his face revealing a troubled expression. If it was only second young Master D living there alone, there would naturally be no problem. However, young Master D and your other two friends are not alchemists or doctors. If I agree to let you live there together, I'm afraid it will cause a lot of dissatisfaction. You should know that although I have a certain amount of weight in this demon training tower, there are still many things that need to be done according to the rules. Otherwise, if someone is not convinced, it will be a big problem for me. According to Steward Qin, this method won't work? Bailey Hongzhuang asked. Steward Qin frowned. It's really difficult. Seeing this scene, Bailey Hongzhuang couldn't help but secretly curse in her heart. Steward Qin only said that the matter was difficult to handle and didn't say that it couldn't be done. This meant that it could be done, but the specific way to do it would depend on the chips they took out. Steward Qin, if this continues, then I won't be able to continue selling this healing medicine. Bailey Hongzhuang frowned. This is a huge loss. Steward Qin couldn't help but say. Steward Qin, why don't we still maintain the original sharing method? You will charge 40% of the processing fee. After that, no matter what the sales volume is, the sharing method will not change. How about you arrange for us to live upstairs? Hearing Bailey Hongzhuang's words, Steward Qin's eyes quietly flashed with a bright light, but the difficult expression on his face still did not dissipate. Chapter 3091. Bailey Hongzhuang and Bewitching couldn't help but look at each other. They only felt that this Steward Qin was even more difficult to deal with than they had imagined. They had already taken out their chips, but this Steward Qin was still putting on airs and refused to give an answer. Obviously, he still wanted to see if they could offer a higher chip. This feeling of being controlled by the other party was very unpleasant. However, with their current situation, it would be best if they could go to the living area of the alchemists and doctors. Steward Qin, to be honest, as a doctor, I have a lot of things. This healing medicine is just one of the things that I have taken out. Bailey Hongzhuang slowly spoke, her gaze always falling on Steward Qin. She could only release her chips one by one and see when Steward Qin would let go. Of course, if this Steward Qin opened his mouth and offered conditions that she could not accept, she would not pay attention to it. If it really didn't work, they would just leave the demon training pagoda. Following Bailey Hongzhuang's words, Steward Qin's eyes lit up. In that case, second young Master D has a lot of skills? Can you still take out medicine with the same effect as the healing medicine? Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly. Of course, there's no problem. It's just that I'm only selling the healing medicine in exchange for the spirit stones that we need for cultivation. There's no need to take out anything else. Seeing that Bailey Hongzhuang was so honest, Steward Qin couldn't help but frown. Second young Master D, don't you plan to take advantage of this opportunity to earn more spirit stones? My focus is still on cultivation. Earning spirit stones is just a way for me to improve my cultivation. Bailey Hongzhuang's expression was indifferent. Money was just a worldly possession. Her goal had never been to make money. What's more, I don't have much use for earning these spirit stones. If I can't even get what I want the most, what's the point? Bailey Hongzhuang sighed faintly. When she first came to the Penglai Island, she did want to earn more spirit stones in order to be able to buy the 2 medicinal herbs she needed at the auction. However, the news that Yi Lifei told them later made her completely despair. Other than helping with cultivation, these spirit stones had no other use. A hint of curiosity appeared on Steward Qin's face. Could it be that there's something that spirit stones can't exchange for? Our demon training pagoda's resources are also very rich. Why don't second young Master D tell us about it? As soon as he said that, Bailey Hongzhuang and Bewitching's eyes lit up. If the 3 forces of the Penglai Island, then the demon training pagoda was an existence that could not be ignored. Maybe with the help of the pagoda as a platform, They would have a chance to use it with the help of the pagoda with the help of the demon training pagoda's platform. Hongzhuang's tears and Hongzhuang's ginseng? A hint of surprise appeared on Steward Qin's face. As far as I know, the usage rate of these two medicinal herbs is not high. Why are you collecting these two medicinal herbs? Chapter 3092. Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen had a faint feeling in their hearts that the tears of Cold Flame and the Purple Dragon Emperor Ginseng seemed to be something that the upper echelons of Penglai Island knew about. It could be seen from the surprised expression on Steward Qin's face. However, they really didn't understand. They collected these two medicinal herbs to change Di Beichen's cursed body. Then why did the other party collect these two medicinal herbs? I'm researching a prescription and I just happen to need these two medicinal herbs. Bailey Hongzhuang said calmly. Di Beichen also said, my second brother has always liked to research new prescriptions, so the prescriptions he takes out are often different from those of ordinary doctors. Hearing this, Steward Qin revealed a look of realization. So that's how it is. What I admire the most is a doctor like Second Young Master Di who likes to research new prescriptions. Unlike ordinary doctors, he doesn't have anything of his own. Previously, I was curious as to why the healing medicine made by Second Young Master Di would have such an amazing effect. Now, I finally understand. In that case, Second Young Master Di should have a lot of effective prescriptions that he has mastered? Steward Qin looked at Bailey Hongzhuang tentatively and asked. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded, that's right. Young Masters Di, since we've already said this much, how about we talk about a business deal? A serious expression appeared on Steward Qin's face. He was no longer as cold and indifferent as before. He only listened to Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen's conditions. Please speak, Steward Qin. Di Beichen's expression remained the same, but in his heart, he secretly thought that this old fox had indeed begun to be tempted. We don't have the tears of Cold Flame in the blood refining tower, but we do have a Purple Dragon Emperor Ginseng in our inventory. Following Steward Qin's words, Bailey Hongzhuang felt her heart thumping. She didn't expect that the blood refining tower would really have it. However, both Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen controlled their emotions extremely well. In this negotiation, whoever appeared to be too anxious would have to pay more in the negotiation. As long as young Master Di gives the prescription of this healing medicine to our demon training tower, I will give you this Purple Dragon Emperor Ginseng. How about it? Of course, while young Master Di is in the demon training tower, you can still sell this healing medicine. Our demon training tower will not sell it. Our demon training tower will not sell it. We mainly sell it to other islands. Steward Qin's eyes were deep as he looked at Bailey Hongzhuang. In addition, I can arrange for you to live in the medicine master and doctor's area. Cultivators will no longer be able to find out your identity, saving you a lot of trouble. Hearing Steward Qin's words, Bailey Master Stewards, from the very beginning, it's Steward Qin, it the medicines. From the start, it's. It was better to teach a man to fish than to give him a fish. If she sold the healing medicine in the demon training tower, the demon training tower would only earn a small profit. However, once the prescription fell into the hands of the demon training tower, the situation would be completely different. The spirit stones they earned were definitely a huge number. Bailey Hongzhuang was very clear about the value of her healing medicine. A healing medicine that healed at a speed comparable to that of a healing pill was enough to attract everyone's attention. However, compared to the Purple Dragon Emperor Ginseng, this price was nothing. She didn't plan to make a fortune through this healing medicine. Chapter 3093. Although the value of the Purple Dragon Emperor Ginseng was very high, it was of no use in their hands. In his opinion, this Purple Dragon Emperor Ginseng was a very unpopular medicinal herb. Ordinary alchemists and doctors would not be able to use it at all. Coincidentally, Bailey Hongzhuang needed it, so it was not too much for him to use it as a bargaining chip. However, he did not know how much Bailey Hongzhuang valued this Purple Dragon Emperor Ginseng. If it was any other doctor, they would definitely not agree. However, he still wanted to try Bailey Hongzhuang's attitude. Just as Steward Qin was secretly thinking about the possibility of Bailey Hongzhuang agreeing, He had no idea that Bailey Hongzhuang was already crazy with joy in her heart. This deal was really worth it for Bailey Hongzhuang. Steward Qin, you should know that a doctor's prescription has always been very precious, not to mention that it was developed by my second brother himself. Bewitching frowned, and a hint of hesitation appeared on his face. I know, but I want to arrange for you to live in a place that you can't live in. This can be considered breaking the rules of our demon training tower. This kind of thing is not something that I can decide on my own. If I don't take out something valuable, I'm afraid that everyone will not be convinced. The two of you should think about it carefully. Steward Qin sized up Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen. He had already seen through Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen's strength. Otherwise, he would not be so worried about other cultivators recognizing their identities. He believed that smart people would choose between a prescription and their own safety. Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen pretended to hesitate. After thinking for a long time, they reluctantly nodded and agreed. All right, then let's do this. I hope that Steward Qin can immediately arrange for us to live there. Hearing Bailey Hongzhuang's answer, the smile on Steward Qin's face deepened. He immediately nodded and said, "No problem, I'll arrange it immediately." At the same time, Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen couldn't help but look at each other. Their hearts were already blooming with joy. Today's negotiations were definitely worth more than what they had paid for. While Bailey Hongzhuang and Steward Qin were busy negotiating, when Xiren and Shangguan Yingying had worried expressions on their faces as they paced back and forth in the room like ants on a hot pan. Isn't this Lu Mingxiu a little too weird? He's bent on finding us. Shangguan Yingying frowned. Just now, she noticed that there was a lot of movement outside, so she went to take a look. It turned out that Lu Mingxiu had ordered people to search room by room to find the existence of number 18. It wouldn't be long before they were found here. As long as they checked their plate number, they would immediately be able to determine their identity. This was simply too bad. Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen were not here. However, she and Xiren were number 19 and 20 respectively. Everyone could easily tell that they were the cultivators who came with Hongzhuang. This guy suffered a big loss last time. Now that he has such an opportunity, of course he wants to take advantage of it to take revenge. Xiren's face was gloomy. If it wasn't for his lack of strength, he really wanted to kill Lu Mingxiu. Those cultivators from before weren't very strong. Most of them came here to try their luck. However, no one on the second floor is a match for Lu Mingxiu. It'll be very difficult for us to resist him. Once we're discovered, there'll be endless trouble. Chapter 3094. Lu Mingxiu confirmed the identities of the cultivators one by one, and the smile on his face gradually widened. He had a premonition that they were not far from finding Bailey Hongzhuang. Now that more and more people had gathered on the second floor, he just stood there quietly and watched others check the number plates. Basically, all the cultivators living on the second floor did not dare to show any dissatisfaction after seeing him. They could only obediently take out their number plates for him to check. The other cultivators also knew about the grudge between Lu Mingxiu and number 18. Now that they had this opportunity, they were naturally overjoyed. Lu Mingxiu did not intend to personally attack number 18, which meant that they had a chance to make a fortune. Even though no one knew number 18's true identity, after number 18's performance these days, everyone vaguely concluded that number 18's cultivation was definitely not strong. Otherwise, she would not have been hiding like this. As time gradually passed, Shangguan Yingying and Wen Xiren became more and more worried. This was really bad. Now that the second floor was basically sealed off, the two of them could not leave even if they wanted to. At this moment, there was a knock on the door. Shangguan Yingying and Wen Xiren could not help but look at each other, and a trace of seriousness appeared on their faces. The other party had come looking for them. They slowly opened the door, but the person standing outside was not Lu Mingxiu and the others as they expected, but Sweet Dream. Miss Shangguan, young Master Wen, young Master Di and the others asked me to bring you to the alchemist and doctor area, Sweet Dream said with a faint smile. Shangguan Yingying and Wen Xiren, who were originally extremely nervous, could not help but breathe a sigh of relief, but the seriousness on their faces did not dissipate. Sweet Dream, There are people outside searching room by room. I'm afraid we will be stopped if we leave now, right? It's okay. Follow me through the staff passage at the back. We shouldn't be discovered. They will be here soon. Let's go quickly. Okay, let's go immediately. When Zyron looked back into the room, after seeing that there was nothing inside, the two of them immediately left with sweet dream. Not long after when Zyron and Lu Mingxiu left, Lu Mingxiu and the others arrived at their residence. When Zyron and Lu Mingxiu could not help but heave a sigh of relief when they saw this. It was truly too dangerous. However, Lu Mingxiu and the others were completely unaware that the person they were looking for had just left. After Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen completed the transaction with Steward Qin, they took the lead to go to the alchemist and doctor area. When they came up to take a look, the environment was indeed much better than the second floor. Every room was exceptionally spacious, and there was even a special place for doctors to make medicine. Compared to the second floor, it was no wonder that the second floor was called a slum. Not only that, there was no need to pay any fees to stay here, and most cultivators would not come to the residential area, which would save them a lot of trouble. Even if there were cultivators who came, most of them would also buy things at the counter. But disturbing alchemists and doctors, that was something that no one would rashly do. Steward Qin gave us 4 rooms, but with our situation, we only need 2 rooms. Chapter 3095. In Steward Qin's opinion, he has taken advantage of this negotiation. With his status as a high-ranking member of the Demon Training Pagoda, the value he has judged will not be wrong. Just your prescription for healing medicine is already extremely precious. As for this Purple Dragon Emperor ginseng, it is very valuable to us, but I don't think it is of much value to him. Through this prescription, he can crazily amass wealth and exchange it for even more precious medicinal herbs. Even if he sells this prescription in the end, it will still be a profitable business for him. Di Beichen's deep eyes stared at Bailey Hongzhuang with a bit of guilt and heartache. Wife, for a Purple Dragon Emperor ginseng, you sold your prescription. Without waiting for Di Beichen to finish speaking, Bailey Hongzhuang smiled and said, "It's just an ordinary prescription for healing medicine. It's nothing to me, so you don't have to worry about it. I have as many of these prescriptions as I want, so there's no need to feel sorry for them. Steward Qin feels that he has made a good deal, and I feel that our deal is the one that is really worth it." Di Beichen did not say anything, but his gaze quietly deepened. For his strange physique, Hongzhuang had paid too much. "Beichen, back then, when I was a useless young lady from Fengbo country, you supported me without any complaints or regrets. Now that we are husband and wife, you and I should support each other, right?" Bailey Hongzhuang tilted her head and stared at Di Beichen. Her beautiful eyes were brimming with a bright light, as dazzling as the Milky Way. The sincerity and deep affection in her eyes moved Di Beichen's heart. The smile on Di Beichen's lips gradually widened, and the deep affection in his eyes became more and more indulgent. A deep kiss directly landed on Bailey Hongzhuang's lips. With a wife like this, what more could a husband ask for? He only hoped that his physique could successfully change. He would use the rest of his life to treat Hongzhuang well. Bailey Hongzhuang blushed. Just as Beichen wanted to give her all the good things, she had the same idea. As long as it was for the other party, any price was worth it. Not to mention an ordinary prescription, as long as it could be exchanged for the medicinal herbs they needed, no matter how precious the prescription was, she wouldn't mind at all. The Amethyst Dragon Emperor ginseng is already in our hands. All that's left is the tears of Frostfire. The light in Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes grew brighter and brighter. "Beichen, I think we will definitely be able to gather all these herbs." Originally, after hearing some news from Yi Li Fei, she had felt very desperate. She had never thought that there would be such a pleasant surprise today, which could not help but rekindle her hope. Di Beichen nodded heavily and said in a deep and firm voice, "We will definitely find them." No matter what, he would never leave Hongzhuang. The position of the Demon Training Pagoda in Penglai Island cannot be underestimated. If the healing medicine that Steward Qin sent people to make sells well on Penglai Island, Maybe we can use the demon training pagoda as a channel to find the tears of Frostfire. Bailey Hongzhuang raised her eyebrows. Compared to the few of them searching alone, the success rate of the demon training pagoda's help was much higher. I don't know what kind of power took away the tears of Frostfire. According to Steward Qin's performance today, I think he should know. Chapter 3096. You mean to say that Steward Qin is the breakthrough point? Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes lit up. Why don't we start with Steward Qin and ask him why he collected these 2 medicinal ingredients? If we can think of a way to exchange for a set of tears of cold flame from him, that would be the best. Bewitching thought for a moment, then shook his head and said, now is not the time. The other party is obviously not a small power. Today, when Steward Qin thought of the other party, I noticed a flash of fear on his face. Steward Qin is indeed a breakthrough point, but with our current situation, it is not enough to meet the conditions for negotiation. Right now, we are not in a hurry to talk about this matter. We will talk about it after we have more chips. If we appear to be in a hurry, it will give Steward Qin an opportunity to take advantage of us. Hearing Bewitching's words, Bailey Hongzhuang also calmed down. You're right. Steward Qin was obviously an old fox. Once they acted too anxious, he would definitely raise the price. He might even want to take advantage of this opportunity to take advantage of them. With their current situation, negotiating with a large power like the other party was like walking on thin ice. Before they had enough chips, they could only endure and not make a move. Just as Bailey Hongzhuang and Bewitching were talking, there was a knock on the door. When he opened the door, he saw Sweet Dream, Shangguan Ying, and Wen Xiren standing outside their door. Young Master D, I've already brought Miss Shangguan and the others here. I'll be going back first. Shangguan Ying said with a smile. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly and said, thank you, I've really troubled you today. Young Master D is too polite. It's all thanks to young Master D that I've improved so much in the demon training tower. If there's anything you need my help with in the future, just ask. Sweet Dream smiled, her cheeks still flushed red. Now that she saw that Bailey Hongzhuang had completely escaped from her previous predicament, her good impression of him continued to deepen. Xiren and Shangguan Ying noticed the change in Sweet Dream's expression, and their expressions became strange. Previously, they thought that Xiao He was talking nonsense, but they clearly noticed that Sweet Dream blushed when she was talking to Bailey Hongzhuang. She blushed. Sweet Dream was not shy when talking to all of them. She was only shy when talking to Bailey Hongzhuang. This was a little too unusual. Hongzhuang, you're finished. I'm afraid Sweet Dream has really fallen for you. Shangguan Ying looked at Bailey Hongzhuang in astonishment. Obviously, she was also extremely surprised by this discovery. Bailey Hongzhuang was slightly stunned. She looked at Shangguan Ying in surprise and said, Ying, are you sure? What nonsense are you talking about? Ying, what nonsense are you talking about? Xiao He also jumped out and said. Xiren stared at Bailey Hongzhuang, as if he wanted to see something from Bailey Hongzhuang's face. Seeing this, Bailey Hongzhuang couldn't help but take 2 steps back and said, what are you doing? When Xiren rubbed his chin, his eyes filled with doubt and confusion. No matter how I look at it, your face doesn't seem to be any more handsome than mine. Could it be that my manly charm isn't as good as yours when you're disguised as a man? What kind of taste does Sweet Dream have? Chapter 3097. No matter how you look at it, our master is more charming than you. What's more, my master is a doctor. Xiao He raised an eyebrow and jumped happily on Bailey Hongzhuang's shoulder. She didn't believe it at all when she said this before, but now there was finally someone who thought the same as her. Hearing this, Xiren nodded. That's true. Compared to Hongzhuang's wealthy identity, Beichen and I really don't have much competition. What are you talking about? In my opinion, you're just overthinking it. Bailey Hongzhuang's face showed helplessness. She didn't have such a good sense of superiority. There were so many excellent people on this demon refining island. It would be strange if she, a woman dressed as a man, had such charm. Shangguan Ying shook her head. Hongzhuang, with my woman's sharp intuition, I can guarantee that I'm not wrong. In the next second, Shangguan Yingying's eyes suddenly lit up. However, I think that this is a good thing. Sweet Dream likes you, so she'll definitely pay more attention to our matters in the future. This is simply too perfect. Hi Ying, that's a good idea. Xiren gave Shangguan Ying a thumbs up. Bailey Hongzhuang couldn't help but look back at Di Beichen with a questioning look in her clear eyes. Di Beichen crossed his arms and slowly nodded under Bailey Hongzhuang's surprised gaze. This possibility isn't impossible. Oh right, Beichen Hongzhuang, I have something to tell you. After joking around, Xiren finally remembered the serious matter and a serious look quickly appeared on his face. Previously, when you went to discuss matters, Lu Mingshu came to the second floor and checked the cultivator's number plate one by one. His goal was to find us. If Sweet Dream hadn't arrived early and took us out of the staff passageway, then we would have fallen into Lu Mingshu's hands. Shangguan Ying nodded repeatedly. We were almost worried to death just now. The number of cultivators was simply shocking. Fortunately, you were fast enough. Otherwise, we would have been finished. Even if she said it now, Shangguan Ying still had some lingering fear. It was simply a matter of life and death. If they had been just a little bit later, they would have been stopped. Lu Mingshu went looking for trouble again? Bailey Hongzhuang frowned. She had always felt that Lu Mingshu was a big trouble. It had only been a short while, but Lu Mingshu could not help but come looking for trouble again. Lu Mingshu wants to find us and use others to capture us all in one fell swoop. This guy is really ruthless. Speaking of which, from the beginning to the end, he was the one looking for trouble with us. We didn't do anything at all. Xiren said coldly. When he thought about how there was no enmity between them, but Lu Mingshu wanted to take their lives as soon as he came, he felt a chill in his heart. It's very simple. It's nothing more than that he couldn't deal with Xiao Yihan, so he transferred this conflict to us. He wants to vent his anger through us. Di Beichen's voice was slightly cold, but his face was very calm. Those who did not have the ability often could only show their strength by bullying the weak. If they were strong, then there was no need for this. Chapter 3098. As Di Beichen's voice fell, Bailey Hongzhuang and the other two nodded in agreement. This was indeed the case. Speaking of which, Lu Mingshu definitely won't be able to find us today. Wouldn't that make him even angrier? Shangguan Yingying pondered. Bailey Hongzhuang and the others looked at each other, their eyes big and small, their hearts somewhat speechless. I'm afraid that after today, Lu Mingshu will hate us even more. Speaking of which, this is completely an undeserved disaster. If he didn't want to do these useless things, he wouldn't have slapped his face so hard. If I'm not wrong, Lu Mingshu will become a joke again if today's matter is spread out. Bailey Hongzhuang spread out her hands. Her face was full of helplessness. There were always some ignorant people who lifted a stone and dropped it on their own feet. This kind of thing really couldn't be blamed on them. I'm suddenly looking forward to Lu Mingshu's expression when he can't find us after searching all the rooms on the second floor. Xiren suddenly couldn't help but laugh. This guy always thought of ways to find trouble with them. He deserved this kind of result. Let's wait. It should be very exciting. Di Beichen nodded. In fact, everything was as Bailey Hongzhuang and the others expected. As Lu Mingshu searched more and more rooms, his face became uglier and uglier. He had checked almost all the rooms on the second floor. He faintly had a bad premonition in his heart. If he didn't get any results after checking all the rooms today, it would be a little ugly. However, the cultivators behind Lu Mingshu didn't notice this at all. They only became more and more excited as the remaining rooms became fewer and fewer. They were almost certain that they would find the real target next. At that time, they would have to act before others did. Then, tens of thousands of spirit stones would fall into their hands. After Bailey Hongzhuang and the others stayed in the alchemist and doctor area, they continued to make healing medicine. There were a lot of orders for healing medicine, and they still had a lot to make. Now that they came to live here, they completely put down their burdens and didn't have to worry about safety. They could complete the orders with peace of mind. The next day, after Bailey Hongzhuang and the others handed the healing medicine to the counter for sale, they heard the news from Lu Mingshu. Yesterday, Lu Mingxiu led a large group of cultivators to search the entire second floor. They didn't miss a single room, but they didn't find the figure of number 18 at all. Everyone guessed that number 18 might not be on the second floor for a long time. But Lu Mingxiu, who had a noble identity, made such a big fanfare to look for her, in the end to find her. And they thought, Lu Mingxiu's face, is she to find? He. 2 to be her. Chapter 3099. After this incident, the position of number 18 on the second floor quietly rose in everyone's hearts. Unknowingly, everyone had already regarded number 18 on the second floor as an existence on the same level as Lu Mingxiu and Xiao Yihan. Only this kind of existence could make Lu Mingxiu miss time and time again. If it was just an ordinary cultivator, there was no way they could compete with Lu Mingxiu. When Bailey Hongzhuang and the others knew what the people of the Demon Training Tower were thinking, the four of them couldn't help but laugh in the room. The people of the Demon Training Tower are really imaginative. In such a short period of time, they've already established a mysterious and mighty image for Hongzhuang. Shengguan Yingying laughed loudly. They originally didn't have enough strength and could only hide from everyone. They didn't expect that they would quietly establish such an image, and instead become infinitely mighty. This is also good. I'm afraid that no one will dare to cause trouble for Hongzhuang now. Di Beichen's lips curled into a faint smile. They just didn't show up, and they already gave the other party a show of strength. Now, the cultivators gathered on the second floor who wanted to try their luck had all dispersed. Clearly, they regarded Bailey Hongzhuang as an existence that couldn't be provoked. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled slightly. After today's batch of healing medicine is completed, we can go into seclusion with peace of mind. The sales of the healing medicine were far better than Sweet Dream had imagined. She originally thought that after a few days of popularity, the hot sales would die down. However, reality proved that Bailey Hongzhuang's healing medicine was very attractive. Although it wasn't as hot as before, the sales were still extremely terrifying. Clearly, these people were all returning customers and were completely here for the effects of the healing medicine. Bailey Hongzhuang's group of four could be said to be extremely fast at making healing medicine. In just a few days, they had already stocked up a lot of healing medicine. It should be enough to support the sales for a period of time without any problems. Take advantage of this opportunity to raise our cultivation as soon as possible. When Xiren's eyes lit up as he said, Lu Mingxiu has been finding trouble for us. I hope that we can also find trouble for him one day. It's not like me to swallow my anger. Bailey Hongzhuang's lips curled up slightly. Just as Xiren had said, Lu Mingxiu's successive actions had already caused her displeasure. If she did not return all of this to Lu Mingxiu, it would not be in line with her style. Sweet Dream looked at the healing medicine that Bailey Hongzhuang handed over, and a look of surprise appeared in her eyes. Young Master D, I haven't sold out the healing medicine you gave me previously. Bailey Hongzhuang waved her hand and said, Sweet Dream, I plan to cultivate in seclusion for a period of time, so I'll give you these healing medicines first. If you want to contact me, you can put a note in the door. I'll come and find you when I see it. Hearing this, Sweet Dream finally understood. I understand. Don't worry, I'll definitely let you know if there's anything. Sorry to trouble you. After everything was arranged, Bailey Hongzhuang's group of four entered the ocean world together and began to cultivate. Taking advantage of this opportunity to break through to the fourth level of the Purple Realm in one fell swoop was their goal. There were as many monsters in the ocean world as usual, and every time they appeared, they would be ganged up on. Bailey Hongzhuang's group of four was extremely small in this vast sea, but it was unusually stable. Chapter 3100. Cultivation in the ocean world was extremely arduous. Bailey Hongzhuang and the other three might not have been familiar with battles on the surface of the sea, but after cultivating in the ocean world, they were all too familiar with the sea and no longer felt as fearful as before. Even when Xiren, who had been in the water for the shortest amount of time, felt at ease when facing the sea. However, They did not dare to enter the sea carelessly because the seemingly calm surface of the sea was filled with danger everywhere. If they were not careful, they would not lose their lives. Unknowingly, Bailey Hongzhuang and the other three used healing medicine at an extremely high frequency. Almost every battle caused them to be unavoidably injured, and the successive battles caused them to frequently fall into danger. However, in this process, their combat power and endurance were constantly improving. Every dangerous situation they faced was a catalyst for their improvement. Almost everyone had different injuries on their bodies. The three beasts situation was not much better than theirs. Originally, the three beasts were also landlubbers. However, they were already familiar with the water. What made Bailey Hongzhuang and the rest feel helpless was that the three beasts had already broken through before they had succeeded in breaking through. Xiao He and Xiao Bai's breakthroughs were one thing. They had not improved for a while, but Bai Shi had broken through again. All of this was due to the demonic beasts in the sea who liked to attack in groups. Every time these demonic beasts appeared, their numbers were extremely large. Once they started fighting, the battle would not stop unless all of them were killed. As a result, all the demon crystals had entered Bai Shi's stomach. In addition to Bai Shi's abnormal attributes, he had broken through again. Now, Bai Shi was the most powerful in their entire team. This made everyone feel that they were inferior to beasts. They had worked hard to cultivate, but they could only watch as the white lion improved again and again. This is simply heaven-defying. When Xiren looked speechlessly at Bai Shi, who was still eating happily. This fellow's mouth had not stopped. How good would it be if he could also improve his cultivation so easily? I'm so envious of Bai Shi. This cultivation speed is simply unparalleled. Shangguan Yingying could not hide the envy on her face. Bai Shi looked proudly at Xiren and Wenxinya. The sound of him eating the demon crystals became even clearer. You can't be envious. However, just as they were talking, Di Beichen's eyes suddenly changed. He put a finger on his lips and said, Hongzhuang seems to be breaking through. As soon as this was said, when Xiren and Shangguan Yingying both looked at Bailey Hongzhuang. Sure enough, Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes were closed, and the aura in her body began to fluctuate faintly. I'm afraid it's very dangerous to break through here. When Xiren's expression turned serious, they could be attacked by demonic beasts at any time on the sea. If Bailey Hongzhuang was disturbed while she was breaking through, it would be terrible. Di Beichen's expression was equally serious. It's best to go back and break through. Otherwise, we can only think of a way to protect Hongzhuang from being affected. Just then, Bailey Hongzhuang opened her eyes. Her brows were tightly knitted and her expression showed that she was in pain. Based on the time, we should be going back soon. Chapter 3101. Forcefully suppressing the opportunity to break through was not an easy task in itself. It could not be maintained for a long time. Once the time limit was exceeded, this opportunity would be completely missed. It would be even more difficult to obtain this opportunity the next time. Di Beichen nodded and looked at the sky. It should be soon. If it doesn't work, we will protect you. You don't have to worry. The three beasties looked at Bailey Hongzhuang anxiously. It was not easy to obtain such an opportunity to break through, but it had to be at such an awkward time. They were really helpless. Cold sweat seeped out of Bailey Hongzhuang's forehead. She could feel the surging elemental energy in her dantian. It was constantly churning, trying to break through the bottleneck. The seven-colored, glittering elemental energy was magnificent. It made Bailey Hongzhuang's dantian look like a galaxy, magnificent and perfect. Di Beichen had been paying attention to Bailey Hongzhuang's condition. After discovering that Bailey Hongzhuang's breath was becoming more and more unstable, he could not help but say, "Wife, don't suppress it anymore. Just break through directly. It would be a pity if you missed this opportunity." Bailey Hongzhuang stared at Di Beichen and gritted her teeth. How much longer? 1 minute. Hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang could not help but close her eyes. She was trying her best to suppress it. It was best to break through in a safe environment. Not only that, suppressing it for a certain period of time would not cause any harm. On the contrary, it would make her foundation more stable. However, it depended on the person's ability to control this degree. Just as Bailey Hongzhuang was about to be unable to hold on, a large door appeared in front of them and directly brought them out of the ocean world. Once they returned to the doctor's residence, Bailey Hongzhuang immediately began to break through. After she stopped suppressing it, the elemental energy in her body surged wildly like a flood. The fiercer she suppressed it before, the more intense it was now. Bailey Hongzhuang clenched her teeth. She held the spirit stone with both hands and continuously operated the heaven-defying heart technique. The originally intense pain gradually stabilized as she operated the heaven-defying heart technique. She focused her mind and controlled the elemental energy to rush in one direction. Bewitching and the other two sighed in relief after seeing Bailey Hongzhuang's condition gradually stabilizing. They were worried that the previous suppression would have a negative impact on Bailey Hongzhuang. Now, it seemed that Bailey Hongzhuang was really a lucky person. I didn't expect Hongzhuang to be the first to break through among us. Her speed is unbelievable. Shangguan Yingying's eyes were full of amazement. She thought that when Xiren and Bewitching would be the first to break through. She did not expect Bailey Hongzhuang to give her a surprise. Bewitching, we have to work harder. If we are left behind by Hongzhuang in the future, it will be very embarrassing. When Xiren smiled faintly, Bewitching's deep eyes rippled with a faint smile. He did not answer, but his heart was somewhat heavy. As the influence of this cursed body gradually increased, he found that his cultivation was suppressed. If it was in the past, he would have broken through long ago. But now, it was extremely difficult to break through the bottleneck. This feeling was completely different from before. If he was not willing to believe that the cursed body could be so powerful before, now he had no choice but to face it. Chapter 3102. This kind of feeling was really uncomfortable. However, Bewitching never said this out loud, because if he did, it would definitely make Xiren and the others even more worried. Thinking back, he had also fallen from the top of the divine altar and then climbed back to the peak. This kind of feeling was not so unbearable for him. At this time, Shangguan Yingying could not help but see two pieces of paper on the ground by the door. She immediately picked up the paper and said, "This should be the note that Sweet Dream left for us. Could it be that the healing medicine has been sold out? We stayed in the ocean world for quite a long time this time, so it's only natural that the healing medicine has been sold out." Bewitching took the note from Shangguan Yingying's hand and opened it to take a look. However, after reading it, Bewitching could not help but frown, because there were only 3 words written on the note: "There's trouble." He picked up the other note and opened it to take a look. There were 6 words written on the note: "There's trouble, contact me quickly." It seems that there's trouble again. Bewitching's eyes were deep and cold, and his voice was slightly cold. Hearing Bewitching's words, when Xiren and Shangguan Yingying could not help but be startled, and a hint of surprise appeared on their faces. Trouble? We're already living here, what trouble could there be? Shangguan Yingying did not understand. When Xiren's eyebrows slightly raised, his face full of thought, could it be that Lu Mingxiu is looking for trouble again? From the beginning to the end, they had only offended one person in the demon training tower, and that was Lu Mingxiu. Other than him, they could not think of anyone else. It's possible. Bewitching nodded. Last time, Lu Mingxiu lost face again, so it's normal that he doesn't want to let it go. Then what should we do now? Shangguan Yingying revealed a troubled expression. Hongzhuang is currently breaking through. Why don't we contact Sweet Dream and ask? Bewitching and when Xiren looked at each other and nodded at the same time. Let's go and understand the situation first. I'm sure Sweet Dream is very anxious right now. Bewitching went to look for Sweet Dream. When Sweet Dream saw Bewitching and the others, she was pleasantly surprised. However, when she didn't see Bailey Hongzhuang, a hint of disappointment appeared in her eyes. Meng, what happened these days? Bewitching took the lead to ask. Sweet Dream looked around and said, "If you don't mind, I'll go to your place to talk." Seeing this, Bewitching and the other two nodded. After entering the room, Bewitching said, "Can you tell me now? What happened? Why isn't second young Master D here?" Seeing that Bailey Hongzhuang was not in the room, Sweet Dream could not help but ask. She's currently breaking through, so she can't come out to understand the situation for now. Once she's done, we'll inform her. After saying this, when Xiren and Shangguan Yinging looked at each other, it seemed that their guess was right. Sweet Dream liked Bailey Hongzhuang, otherwise, she wouldn't pay so much attention to Bailey Hongzhuang's situation. Hearing this, Sweet Dream finally relaxed, but her expression also became a bit unsightly. This matter is indeed a bit troublesome. Did Lu Mingxiu come looking for trouble again? Xiren asked. Chapter 3103. Hearing this, Bewitching and the other two couldn't help but feel even more confused. They didn't know what other enemy they had besides Lu Mingxiu. It's like this. Sweet Dream slowly explained what had happened. It turned out that ever since Bailey Hongzhuang's healing medicine began to be sold, the other medicine refiners and doctors in the magic training tower were affected. In the first few days, the medicine refiners and doctors only thought that it was a novelty. After all, every time a new item came out of the magic training tower, it would cause a wave of excitement. Thus, they didn't take it to heart. They only wanted to wait for this wave of excitement to pass before everything returned to normal. However, the situation was completely different from what they thought. Although Bailey Hongzhuang's healing medicine wasn't as popular as before, there was an endless stream of cultivators who wanted to buy it. In addition, Bailey Hongzhuang had given Sweet Dream a sufficient supply, so Sweet Dream didn't think about this. In a short period of time, Bailey Hongzhuang's healing medicine became a monopoly in the magic training tower. Almost all the cultivators came to buy this healing medicine. Only a very small number of people would buy other healing pills or medicine. This scene clearly exceeded everyone's expectations. In the magic training tower, the medicine that sold the most and consumed the most was healing medicine. Thus, almost all the medicine refiners and doctors couldn't give up on this area. Once Bailey Hongzhuang's healing medicine was released, it affected the profits of the other medicine refiners and doctors. Thus, everyone couldn't help but protest. If it was a normal problem, it wouldn't be a problem for Sweet Dream to deal with. However, these medicine refiners and doctors weren't people that she could easily offend. With the other side pressuring her like this, Sweet Dream couldn't do anything. Thus, she could only quickly notify Bailey Hongzhuang. Recently, these medicine refiners and doctors have been causing more and more trouble. They're asking young Master D to either stop selling this healing medicine or get the hell out of the magic training tower. Sweet Dream furrowed her brows, her pretty face filled with embarrassment. You don't know how difficult it is to deal with these arrogant fellows. Besides, these people usually have a lot of charisma. I really don't know what to do. After hearing all this, Shangguan Yingying's expression turned ugly. These guys clearly don't have the ability to fight against Bei. They actually shamelessly found such an excuse to protest. Don't they feel embarrassed? Bewitching and Xiren were also speechless. They didn't know that the medicine they sold would have such a huge impact on the alchemists and doctors of the magic training tower. Fortunately, Hongzhuang had only sold one type of healing medicine. If Hongzhuang had sold more things, then wouldn't all the alchemists and doctors in the Devil Training Tower have nothing to eat? I also know that this matter is their fault, but once they join forces, they will be a very powerful force. Sweet Dream was very helpless. Normally, they had to be careful not to offend just one alchemist or doctor, let alone now that so many people had joined together to protest, she had no way of doing anything. Chapter 3104. The higher-ups of the Demon Training Tower have no opinion on this matter? Bewitching pursed his lips, a sharp light hidden in his eyes. Logically speaking, this kind of matter should be handled by the higher-ups of the Demon Training Tower. An ordinary counter lady wouldn't be able to handle it, but as long as the higher-ups of the Demon Training Tower stood up and said something, this kind of protest would be quelled. The most important thing was that they had never made a mistake in this matter from the beginning to the end. It could only be said that those pharmacists and doctors were narrow-minded. They didn't have the ability, so they wanted to use this kind of method to drive away the strong competitors. Hearing Di Beichen's words, Sweet Dream's expression became even more awkward. I've already reported this matter to the higher-ups, but they haven't responded. Clearly, they want you to deal with this matter on your own. The higher-ups of the demon training tower are all sly old foxes. They don't want to offend anyone, so they simply don't stand up. Like this, aren't they forcing us to make a decision? Di Beichen's expression was unfathomable. His black whirlpool-like eyes narrowed slightly, faintly emitting a cold light. When Xiren and Shangguan Yingying's expressions also became unsightly. Compared to Lu Mingxiu, these alchemists and doctors who had joined forces were indeed a bigger problem. This was simply an unsolvable situation. Asking them to stop selling healing medicine was something they simply couldn't swallow. As for leaving the demon training tower, that was even more impossible. However, it wasn't easy to make these fellows shut their mouths. Have those fellows made any specific moves? Di Beichen asked. Sweet Dream shook her head. They haven't made any specific moves, but they've jointly protested and stopped me from continuing to sell healing medicine. Right now, there's no way to continue selling it. So, they haven't caused any trouble these past 2 days? Sweet Dream nodded. No, I said you were in secluded cultivation, but they seemed to think I was lying. You were just afraid of their joint protest, so you hid your heads like turtles. In these past few days, those pharmacists and doctors had been extremely arrogant. Sweet Dream didn't say this out loud. If we stop selling healing medicine, then it's their medicine that's being sold now? Shangguan Yingying wasn't angry. Instead, she laughed, her voice filled with ridicule. Indeed, forget it. Since things have become like this, we don't have to worry for now. Let's wait until Di Bei succeeds in his breakthrough before we make any plans. When Xiren thought about it and said, to deal with the pharmacists and doctors. Obviously, Bailey Hongzhuang as well as the pharmacists and doctors. Sweet Dream nodded. Then I'll go back. Okay. Sweet Dream of Dream, Shangguan Yingying and Shangguan Yingying. Of course, Hong Yingying. Yingying didn't. Except Hong. Of course. To say, to them, of them to them of. Chapter 3105. Hearing Di Beichen's words, when Xiren and Shangguan Yingying's expressions changed. It seemed that Beichen was preparing to cause trouble. However, they liked it. Number 18's healing medicine had stopped being sold. This undoubtedly caused a big impact in the demon training tower. However, the source of this matter was quickly known by everyone. Number 18 is really unlucky. She's just selling a healing medicine, and all the alchemists and doctors have joined forces to protest. They're trying to push her out completely. These alchemists and doctors have always been like this. As long as someone's performance is outstanding, they will start to ban them. To be honest, it's really disgusting. That's true. The healing medicine sold by number 18 is comparable to healing pills. It's the most cost-effective to buy. That's why these guys can't stand it anymore. That can't be helped. Now that so many people are collectively pressuring her, these people are much harder to deal with than Lu Mingxiu. Now that the healing medicine has stopped being sold, it will be very difficult to buy it in the future. Everyone was discussing and sighing about the development of this matter. The most helpless thing was the loss they had suffered. Di Beichen and the others walked around the arena area and heard this kind of discussion the most. Obviously, most of the cultivators were unwilling to stop the sale of healing medicine. This made them feel a little better. The next day, Bailey Hongzhuang completed her breakthrough and successfully broke through from the 3rd level of the Purple Realm to the 4th level of the Purple Realm. Feeling the abundant energy in her body, Bailey Hongzhuang couldn't help but smile with satisfaction. It had been 3 months since she came to Penglai Island. Finally, there was some improvement. According to the judgment of ordinary people, this kind of cultivation speed was already very fast. However, it was far from enough for them. However, this was also because they had wasted a lot of time before. Now that they had enough spirit stones, as long as they focused on cultivation, the speed of their cultivation would increase again. However, when Bailey Hongzhuang opened her eyes, she found that she was alone in the room. Di Beichen, when Xiren, and Shangguan Yingying were not there. This made her frown. Where did they go? The three beasts immediately gathered in front of Bailey Hongzhuang and said, Master, there's trouble again. Hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes suddenly sank. What happened? The three beasties immediately relayed everything Sweet Dream had said to Bailey Hongzhuang. These fellows from the demon training tower are truly shameless. After Bailey Hongzhuang heard all this, her expression changed slightly, but her expression remained calm. I didn't know that selling a healing medicine would cause such a huge impact. These guys are too impatient. Bewitching and the others have gone to the arena to understand the situation. They should be back soon. Just as Bailey Hongzhuang and the three beasties were talking, familiar footsteps sounded outside the door. Then, Bewitching and the other two figures appeared in Bailey Hongzhuang's line of sight. Wife, you've completed your breakthrough. Bewitching's eyes flashed with joy as he said with a smile. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded. I've heard about the joint protest from Xiao He and the others. Did you guys get any news when you went out? Chapter 3106. Most of the cultivators still hope that this healing medicine can continue to be sold. However, everyone has already decided that it's impossible for us to make a comeback. When Xiren spread his hands and said helplessly, Shangguan Yingying nodded, it's too difficult for us to gain the upper hand in this battle. Wife, what do you plan to do? Bewitching sat down next to Bailey Hongzhuang. Usually, when faced with a situation like this, neither he nor Hongzhuang would sit and wait for death. They want to ban the sale of my healing medicine for their own benefit. That's impossible. Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes were cold and her lips curled into a mocking smile. Her original intention was to earn some money through this healing medicine. Now that she has earned quite a bit, she only wanted to focus on her cultivation. However, these people just had to cause trouble. She did not mind stopping the sale, but the other party had used such despicable means to ban her from selling. She could not take this lying down. Since that's the case, let's spread the news that the healing medicine will continue to be sold. How about it? Bewitching curled his rosy lips and his eyes were filled with interest. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded gently and the smile on her lips widened. It seems that Bewitching had the same idea as her. She could not take this lying down. All right, I'd like to see what these people can do to me if I continue to sell it. However, if we continue to sell it, those people will definitely not stop. I'm afraid that they'll come looking for trouble. Bewitching reminded Bailey Hongzhuang. These people who were in high positions and used their power to bully others liked to cause trouble endlessly. Once they started to fight back, the other party would definitely take action immediately. Bailey Hongzhuang shrugged nonchalantly. If the other party was a powerful cultivator, we might not be able to do anything. However, when it comes to alchemy and medical skills, I'm not afraid of anyone. Just a portion of healing medicine that I casually took out was enough to force them into such a situation. It's obvious that their powers are not that great. The other party had slapped her in the face so arrogantly. If she didn't return the favor, how would that be her style? Hearing Bailey Hongzhuang's words, when Xiren and Shangguan Yingying's faces lit up with interest. It seemed like there was going to be a good show to watch. After making up her mind, Bailey Hongzhuang went to look for Sweet Dream. When Sweet Dream learned that Bailey Hongzhuang was going to continue to sell healing medicine and did not intend to pay attention to these people's joint protests, she could not help but be stunned. Young Master D, this will definitely arouse the dissatisfaction of all of them. This is a huge problem. Sweet Dream looked at Bailey Hongzhuang worriedly. With so many people working together, it could be said that they had the advantage in numbers. Bailey Hongzhuang was alone, and it would not be easy for her to fight against the other party. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled faintly. They took advantage of the fact that I was in closed-door cultivation to do such a thing. I'd like to see what they can do if I continue to sell it. If they have the ability, they can make healing medicine that's more effective than my healing medicine. If there's only one thing that's more effective than what they've refined, they'll join forces to suppress it. That would be too laughable. Young Master D, have you really decided? It's very likely to be a storm. Chapter 3107. Seeing that Bailey Hongzhuang had made up her mind, Sweet Dream knew that it was useless to stop her. She nodded. I will spread the news. However, young Master D, I have something to remind you of. Speak. These alchemists and doctors know where you live because the rules here are different from other residential areas. Every time a new person arrives, the other alchemists and doctors will receive the news. Once I spread the news that you are going to continue selling healing medicine, I'm afraid that they will come to find trouble with you very soon. You have to be mentally prepared. However, I feel that you will not be able to avoid being at a disadvantage if you compete with so many of them. Hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes flashed with astonishment. She did not know about this. Fortunately, Sweet Dream had reminded her. However, even so, this would not change her decision. I understand. You just have to continue spreading the news. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled faintly. Sweet Dream looked at the confident smile on Bailey Hongzhuang's face and her heart skipped a beat. It had to be said that compared to enduring like this, Bailey Hongzhuang was much more domineering. She did not know how Bailey Hongzhuang planned to deal with this storm. However, looking at Bailey Hongzhuang like this, she could not help but be moved. On the same day, a piece of news shook the demon training tower. Have you heard? Number 18 is going to continue selling healing medicine. This is equivalent to directly challenging so many alchemists and doctors. Didn't she stop selling before? Why did she suddenly change her attitude? I heard that she was in closed-door cultivation before and did not know what was happening outside. Now that she has come out, she is going to continue selling. That means that number 18 is not an ordinary person. It's fine if Lu Mingxu can't do anything to her. Now that she is facing an alliance of alchemists and doctors, she is not afraid at all. She is a real man. I admire her more and more. Just based on her courage, I will buy a few more portions of her healing medicine today. Bailey Hongzhuang's uncompromising attitude attracted the favor of many cultivators. As cultivators, not giving in was their nature. However, when faced with alchemists and doctors, they could only swallow their anger. Now that they saw Bailey Hongzhuang taking the initiative to stand up, they could not help but admire her. Moreover, as long as Bailey Hongzhuang continued selling, they would be able to buy the most cost-effective healing medicine for them. This was undoubtedly the best. Just as the cultivators were praising Bailey Hongzhuang, the alchemists and doctors who were jointly protesting. Number 18 is too arrogant. Does she think that she can fight against all of us with just her strength alone? That's too funny. She is really a newborn calf that is not afraid of the tiger. She thinks that she is so great just because she has a good healing medicine. She actually dared to do such a thing. If we don't teach her a lesson, wouldn't it weaken our reputation? Chapter 3108. All of the alchemists and doctors gathered together, their faces filled with indignation. Although they usually made their own things, they had already formed a certain rule between them. Once a cultivator appeared who didn't cooperate with them, they would suppress them immediately until the other party finally submitted to them. Correspondingly, they would also give the other party some opportunities to develop. For so long, they had maintained this tradition and would never allow anyone to break it. Originally, when Bailey Hongzhuang stopped selling her healing pills, they thought that Bailey Hongzhuang was a tactful person who knew that offending them was the most unwise move. They didn't expect that they had overestimated Bailey Hongzhuang. The latter clearly didn't have such wisdom. Elder Chu, you are the most prestigious person among all of us. You have to take the lead in this matter. I believe that as soon as you appear, number 18 will immediately disarm and surrender, Elder Chu said with a smile. At this time, an alchemist took the lead and suggested. That's right, Elder Chu. You've been in the Devil Training Tower the longest and your influence is also the greatest. The healing pills you refine have always been known to have the best effects, but now there are actually many cultivators saying that the effects of your healing pills are inferior to the healing pills made by number 18. This is like slapping your face. It's fine if our healing pills are inferior to hers, but we all know that Elder Chu's healing pills are very effective. We will never admit this. Everyone spoke out one after another and looked at an old man who was about 60 years old. He was the most famous person among them and had a very close relationship with the upper echelons of the demon training tower. As long as he stood out to protest, they believed that the upper echelons of the demon training tower would have no choice but to agree. After hearing everyone's words, Chu Feihu's face turned gloomy. They are saying that my healing pills are inferior to number 18's healing pills? Right now, almost all of the cultivators think that number 18's healing pills are the best. All of our pills are inferior to hers. This is what makes us most unconvinced. These laymen don't know the real situation at all. They actually dare to speak without thinking. How hateful! Chu Feihu coldly snorted. How can the healing pills refined by me, a dignified alchemist, be inferior to the healing pills concocted by a doctor? Everyone nodded. That's right. This is completely discrediting us. Maybe it's a rumor deliberately spread by number 18. If this continues, she's going to step on all of our heads. Everyone's words made Chu Feihu's face even more unhappy. In fact, since the pill refined by number 18 became popular, Chu Feihu's heart had been very unhappy. In the past, although his healing pills were sold at the most expensive price, the sales were still very good. It was a big way for him to earn money. However, recently, the sales of his healing pills had dropped a lot. In the past, there was not enough to sell every day. Now, there was a surplus every day. Now that he heard such rumors, the anger in his heart could be imagined. Chapter 3109. Compared to the intense denouncing of the pharmacists and doctors gathered together, Bailey Hongzhuang and the other three were extremely calm practitioners in the room. However, this was like the calm before the storm. The four of them were very clear in their hearts that they would most likely encounter a violent storm. However, they were not the slightest bit afraid. Having a large number of people would indeed give them a certain advantage. However, it would not be able to have a decisive effect every time. Not long after, Bailey Hongzhuang's door was knocked. Seeing this, Bailey Hongzhuang and the other three could not help but look at each other. A hint of understanding appeared in their eyes. The opponent's speed is really fast. You all should be mentally prepared. Shengguan Ying lightly laughed. In the face of a powerful enemy, there was not the slightest bit of nervousness. In reality, those who have nothing to lose are not afraid of those who wear shoes. They were originally newcomers to Penglai Island. They were not afraid of losing anything. Open the door, Bewitching said in a deep voice. Following the opening of the door, Bailey Hongzhuang noticed that there were several unfamiliar faces outside the door. The other party only had 5 people. This number was undoubtedly much better than what they had imagined. Chu Feihu and the other 4 clearly did not expect that there would be 4 people in Bailey Hongzhuang's room. For a moment, they did not know who the real master was. Who is number 18? Chu Feihu coldly said. Bailey Hongzhuang slowly stood up. Her gaze was cold as she looked at the 4 people outside the room. She said, I am. What business do you all have with me? As early as the moment she saw the other party, Bailey Hongzhuang had already confirmed that they were pharmacists. This kind of faint medicinal fragrance and arrogant aura could only be displayed so vividly on the body of a pharmacist. After Chu Feihu and the other 4 saw that Bailey Hongzhuang was so young, a hint of surprise quietly flashed across their eyes. Since you are number 18, you should naturally know why we are looking for you. If the few of you are here for the matter of me selling the healing medicine, then please leave. In this devil training pagoda, everyone has the freedom to sell things. You should know this, right? Bailey Hongzhuang said slowly. Her eyes and brows were relaxed, as if she did not realize that the other party was looking for trouble. Looking at Bailey Hongzhuang's attitude, Chu Feihu and the others' faces couldn't help but turn gloomy. It seemed that the other party didn't intend to change her mind at all. A brat who's still wet behind the ears dares to spout nonsense in front of us? Do you know who we are? One of the alchemists behind Chu Feihu couldn't help but ask. Bailey Hongzhuang glanced at them indifferently and said, Is it important to me who you are? Isn't it fine as long as you can reason it out? Am I wrong? Chu Feihu narrowed his eyes. He had underestimated this number 18. He didn't expect her to not have stage fright at such a young age. Clearly, she had already made plans to deal with this. It is indeed your freedom to sell healing medicine. However, you are also discrediting us when you are selling healing medicine. This is your fault. Chu Feihu said casually, but the accusation in his words couldn't be more obvious. Since you are a newcomer, you should follow the rules of every place. If you want to break the rules like this, you will suffer sooner or later. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.